in the full marathon, and a 7-hour 49-minute finish in the half iron distance triathlon. Now, that's just one aspect of Prashant. The other reason why we have him here is because he has been the race director of this race, which was previously called the Airtel Hyderabad Marathon in 2021 and is now called the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon. And he's going to be the race director for 2022 as well. And he's held various positions in the organization committee. He's taken care of volunteers. He's been to procurement, title sponsor liaising, promo runs, you name it. And he's also been a part of the Great Hyderabad Adventure Club, organizing what used to be the Hyderabad Triathlon. Prashant is into kayaking and motorcycling apart from endurance sports. And he says he kills time with Sudokus and crosswords. Welcome, Prashant. A pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for the wonderful words, Kartik. Pleasure to be here too.
Last, but in no way the least, Avik, I feel happy that Avik today got a little late because he was caught in traffic in Hyderabad. So that way, we Bangaloreans can give it back to the Hyderabad guys that it's not just our city that sucks in terms of traffic. So anyway, Avik, as most of you would know, is one of the most well-known, accomplished amateur runners in India as of date. He says sports has always been in his genes. His mother was a state-level athlete in the 100 meters and the long jump. Avik himself started off as a 100-meter and 200-meter sprinter, was destined to train at SOI Kolkata, but then life had other plans. An ankle injury meant that his parents, like most Indian parents, said, "Beta, focus on your studies." His reintroduction to sports, or let's say running, endurance sports, happened in the year 2014 in the spirit of Wipro when he ran a 5 kilometers. And ever since, there's been no looking back. He's been a recipient of multiple awards in the Hyderabad Runners Club Evening Gala. More importantly, he's progressed at the marathon from being a 3-hour 50-minute finisher to a 2-hour 45-minute finisher. And at the HM, he's gone from a 1-hour 42-minute finisher to being a 1-hour 16-minute finisher. Some of his staggering accomplishments are a 15-minute 46-second PB for 5K, 34 minutes 40 seconds for 10K, a 1-hour 16 minutes 06 seconds finish for a HM, and a 2-hour 45 minute 13 seconds finish for the full marathon. He's a swimmer, loves traveling, and is an avid scuba diver. Welcome, Avik.
Thank you, Kartik. It was a great introduction, and I'm amazed by the way you were hosting it. I never knew that you were that great host.
Well,
amazing.
This is my side interest, if I can tell that.
Really nice to know that.
Thank you so much. And before we get on to the show, a big word of thanks to Arvind, Aditi, and Kartik Nadar, who are my partners in crime at GeeksOnFeet, and because of whom the content, technology, and quality of this show is what it is. So with those few words, let's cut the chase. Prashant, the first question goes out to you. The Hyderabad Marathon has one of the finest expos that any race has to offer in India, be it the venue, the size, the scale. Can you just kind of give us a brief overview of the expo, if you will?
Yeah, sure. So, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been having the Sports Expo on 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a tie-up with the High-Tech Sports Expo,
Mm-hmm.
where they have stalls for multiple sports and sporting items there, along with the bib distribution that we do.
Right.
So it kind of gives a lot of character and a lot of extra activities to the expo as well. Other than that, the bib distribution that we do have many activities there. In fact, this time we'll be having hopefully Nikhil Zeri, who's the face of the event, to come there. We also have one of our ambassadors, Purna Malwar, who's climbed all the 7 peaks in 7 continents, to come there. So we try to spice it up with multiple activities. And of course, High-Tech is a beautiful area that we have for the Sports Expo. So huge in terms of space. And like you rightly mentioned, Hyderabad isn't as lucky as Bangalore to have clogged roads of traffic. So coming in, going out is pretty easy. It's like a half-day picnic for people who come there for the bib distribution, collect their bibs, spend some time there, socialize.
And okay, you mentioned the bibs. So what all goes with the bib into the race kit this time for people who are coming down, who have registered and who are coming to race at the Hyderabad Marathon?
So it's mostly the necessities that go into the goodie bag: the T-shirt, the bib, and maybe a couple of coupons if they may be so. And we may be putting up the travel advisory there, because since Hyderabad, the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon is a point-to-point race. It doesn't loop up at the same place. So we do have some transport arrangements and all. So the travel advisory of how you need to get back to the start point, all these will find a place in the kit bag, just to make it easy for people to get back.
Okay, so audience who are listening in, as Prashant said, there's going to be quite a bit of stuff in the race kit, right? And there are specific, simple, lucid travel advisories to you as well. Make it a point to go through all that stuff. Just don't take the T-shirt out, take the pins out, and say I'm done with it. Read that, because Hyderabad being a point-to-point race, and we'll touch upon this later, these advisories become very important. So there's a lot of thought that Prashant and his team have put into in creating this race kit. You also mentioned the T-shirt, and this time we see a totally different color of the T-shirt, something that we've not seen in previous editions. So do you have the T-shirt with you? We'd love to take a take a look
I
at
do
it
have
for our audience, basically.
And let me just show it here.
There you go, folks. Thank you so much. Wonderful that you're having it with you, folks. This is the new T-shirt, the new colorway, if you will, a colorway that was typically, a colorway which is very different from the colorway that was the case previously. Prashant, you want to briefly touch upon that?
Sure. So why this colorway? We thought this year we need to have a multiple of colors, and in some way it signifies a new partnership with NMDC. So it's a yellow for Hyderabad runners and blue for NMDC. Though our creative agency goes a step beyond that and says it's not yellow and blue, it's chartreuse and blue. So chartreuse is a kind of French wine which has that yellow color. Right. So that's how they put it. But yeah, it's a yellow and blue mix, and we generally have some good designs for the color, some good color combinations going for the color. So the T-shirt and the medal, those are two of our very strong unique points for the Hyderabad Marathon, whether it was the Hyderabad Marathon earlier or now the NMDC Hyderabad Marathon. That's something that the participants generally look forward to.
Wonderful. And for those of you who came in late, or who don't know much about the history of this event, Airtel was traditionally the sponsor. This year, Prashant and team have a new sponsor, NMDC, as he mentioned it, which basically stands for, Prashant, what does NMDC stand for?
National Mineral Development Corporation.
Okay, National Mineral Development.
So they are the largest iron ore miners in India, and it's a public sector unit. It's one of the Navaratna's PSU.
Okay, so you have a new sponsor, a new T-shirt colorway, and a race which is back to its original place in the calendar. A lot of things to look forward to. Prashant, one more question before I move on to the two stars that are waiting. How do the registrations look this time in terms of the half marathon, the full marathon, the 10 km? I mean, we're coming back from COVID. You did have an edition in December, but then that was a slightly abridged edition, if I can use that word. This is like a full-fledged edition. You're back to where it all.
Yeah, you're right. No, after the 2019 edition was a highlight. It was kind of the peak that we had reached, and then the COVID stuck, so we had to cancel the 2020 edition. And 2021, we thought we wouldn't be able to do it because of the second wave and the kind of disaster it left behind. But luckily, we had a window and we could push in the event in December. So it was a short event, but it was more important for us in terms of continuity.
Right.
And we had about 9,000 runners for the 2021 event.
Right.
But this year, we are back at about 16,000 levels.
16,000. Okay.
16,000, about 1,200 for the full marathon. About 3,500 for the half, and about 5,000 for the 10, and about a little more than that for the 5K.
Wow!
So and they're still counting. Yeah,
still counting. Right.
And we're hoping, now the runners are getting back. Travel restrictions are not weighing so much on, rather not restrictions, but travel risks are not weighing so much on people's minds.
Right.
And corporates are also getting back.
Right.
So that's a good sign for us all in the sporting arena.
So are registrations still open, or have you closed registrations for that?
So registrations are closing tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow is the last date for registrations, after which we'll have a pure charity registrations open for some time.
Okay.
Where the charities will be selling the bib, and the amount goes to the charity kitty for their thing.
Perfect. So guys, important announcement. The registrations for the Hyderabad Marathon close tomorrow. So if you haven't registered and if you're keen on coming and racing in Hyderabad, going and racing in Hyderabad rather, please do register, after which there will only be charity registrations that are available. So this is a nice segue. This is a nice point to segue into our next segment. We'll be giving you a brief overview of the route with our experts over here. And this is the time when I, move on to Farheen and Avik. So Arvind, as Arvind shares the route, I'm going to, quickly post a question to these two and then come back to Prashant again. Arvind, you can go ahead and share the route. Farheen, given that, you had an ankle injury in 2021, you've come back rather strongly with a couple of races, in the build up to Hyderabad. So how does it look? What are you looking forward to in Hyderabad?
So I know it's one of the toughest marathons of the country, and I thoroughly enjoyed my run last time. I went without any expectations. Yeah, but I thought I would do it in 90 minutes. But the rolling hills and the people cheering us on the way and our pacers, the cyclists, everything kept me going. And I thoroughly enjoyed the route and I'm looking forward for it this time.
Wonderful. Avik, you run in that area. You, in fact, won the half marathon last year. What are your expectations going into NMDC Hyderabad Marathon 2022?
I just love running this race because it challenges me in every way. And I really prepare hard for this event. I feel if I prepare hard for Hyderabad the entire year, I get the benefit out of it. So I look forward to this race every year. And it's my home race.
Right.
I'm a part of, I also do some volunteering in this. It's our own event. So there is a different kind of a feel and emotion for this.
Right. Understood. Totally relatable, actually. Yeah. So then let's do a deep dive into the route. Arvind, can we kind of zoom this down a little, actually, so that we can see the start point?
Kartik has some technical difficulty. Just go on. Another
okay, minute. Sure. Okay, so guys, to give you a very brief idea, this is how the route looks. Sorry, we have some kind of a technical glitch, so zooming in, zooming out might be a challenge for us. Our profound apologies for that. But then we've kind of broken the race down into major segments, both in terms of the HM and the FM and a little bit of the 10K as well. So we're just going to kind of do a walkthrough. So everybody, and Prashant, you're primarily going to drive this section, and then we're going to take inputs from Farheen and Avik. And guys in the audience, feel free to post questions, and we'll take them and blend it into this section. This is the most important section of this discussion, the way we see it. So everybody starts off at the People's Plaza or near the People's Plaza on Necklace Road, and then the full marathon guys have this. What is it? Almost a 10-kilometer stretch around the Necklace Road?
It's a 9.3 kilometer loop around Hussain Sagar.
Okay.
So the full marathon guys, the full marathon runners start off at this place called People's Plaza, which is, again at one side of the lake. And they run along the periphery of the lake, keeping the lake to the left side. So they complete a full circumference of the lake, get back to where they started. But then they're running on the other side of the road at that time, because we have the half marathon guys, runners lined up at the People's Plaza start point. And from there, they go on to the IMAX circle and move on. If you take that as the first leg of the race, so that's entirely for the full marathon runners. And that's about 9.3 odd kilometers, fairly flat. And at most places, you have a straight stretch of road, as you can see in the map also. So a lot of people who like to start fast use this to gain a little bit of speed. And of course, the ones who are doing negative splits will probably be a little slow. A lot of people use this to gain a bit of speed.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, you're saying something.
No, I was just saying that we start off at around 5 a.m. for the full marathon runners. So this place is a bit dark. It's lit up with the street lights. By the time they come back to the start point, it starts getting the sun starts coming up, and you have better light.
Okay. Right. Wonderful. So, Avik, I'm just going to quickly, cut across to you. Prashant spoke about the negative split.
Route is visible. You can talk about.
Yeah. Route is visible. Yeah. Avik, is negative splits, I mean, for most of the runners, is negative split actually a possibility in Hyderabad?
According to my opinion, no. I'll never
Okay.
suggest until and unless you have really trained for negative split. Do not even think about it.
Right.
Go with even splits.
Uh-huh.
Start with a speed that you have trained for, and go with a steady approach. We all know that we slow down a bit. That's part and parcel of running a full marathon. But if you have trained well, you will be able to hold on to the pace even after 32 kilometers. But I won't suggest going anyone for the negative speeds in Hyderabad at least.
Okay, so people, you may want to take note of this basically. Yeah, that brings us to the next stretch. Again, People's Plaza, right? And this is where, the half marathon people start alongside the full marathon people who have already completed the 10 km loop. From there till about the Panjagutta flyover. So Prashant, you want to talk about that section?
Sure. So, Hyderabad Marathon, you have something like 4 flyovers that you will cross during the race. And with every flyover, you definitely get a bit of elevation and then a down. So you just need to figure out which is the flyover with the maximum climb to make sure that you are able to adjust your speed accordingly. Okay. So once the full marathon runners cover the whole section of the Hussain Sagar Lake, come up, they get the first flyover, which is the Hyderabad flyover. That is also common for the half marathon runners. So they go up the Hyderabad flyover, get down, and then there's a beautiful stretch of the Raj Bhavan Road. That is again a straight stretch. But of course, since you just started off, especially for the half marathon runners, there's too much of, how can I put it, the density of runners is too much for the first couple of kilometers. Right. After that, you reach, as you approach the Somajiguda circle, that's where the runners start dispersing a little bit. And that's when you get on to your second flyover at the Somajiguda circle. The Somajiguda flyover, which gets down on to Banjara Hills Road number 2.
I see.
So maybe you can take the other comments, and then I'll get on speaking about the road number 2, which is a little bit significant in this context.
Sure. In fact, I want to, kind of bring in Farheen at this point in time, right? Farheen, considering you're doing the half marathon, you've signed up for the half marathon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and, Prashant really made a mention of this, when you start off, there's going to be this huge crowd of runners basically. And, the first section is pretty flat. So how do you usually start off in a race actually? How do you manage it?
So my start is usually a little slow. So this is something that I have learned eventually from a lot of races but I've really learned to control my paces this time, and especially Hyderabad I'm planning to go slower, and then and I think until 6th kilometer there is flat surface, and then comes the flyover. So when I'm climbing the flyover I'm going to slow down a little bit so I conserve my energy and go all in out when I'm again going on the downhill. So that's the plan. And after the 18th one until the 20th one is the biggest flyover and my favorite. I'm just being sarcastic here. Yeah, that's when I'm going to again get my energy back and give all and out in the 21st kilometer. So I always believe in having a strong finish, and that's the plan.
I asked you for one section, but you gave me the entire thing. Nice. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, let's move on, Prashant. So that we are on to the Panjagutta flyover, and then from there, you want to go ahead up to the KBR Park.
Yeah, so once you get down the Somajiguda flyover and onto road number 2, Banjara Hills, that's where you have one wicked section, the slope up KBR Hills. The slope up to KBR Park, which is probably one of the sections where you have the maximum elevation gain. Of course, there's one more at the Durgam Cheru Bridge, but we'll come to that later. Okay. So that's a place where the full marathon guys are at around around 16, 17 kilometers, and the half marathons are at around 7 kilometers range. Right. So that's one thing you'll need to look out for, the steep section at KBR Park.
KBR Park. Okay, that's a good point, and I want to come to both our elite runners about this basically. So Avik, let's start with you. you live in Hyderabad, you train on these, elevations. So what would we have a lot of runners who are probably running Hyderabad for the first time, coming in from cities like Mumbai or Delhi, which are predominantly, flat. What would your advice be to them to train for the Hyderabad Marathon? I mean, how do you tackle like what he just spoke about, right? The steady uphill sections, and there's a lot of them basically.
So
How do you
if
train
you're
for
from
this?
Delhi, Kolkata, or Mumbai, there are very few uphills that you get to train for. So that's the challenge. Considering that you can, so I don't believe in those hill repeats, short repeats on the hills.
Mhm.
I believe more of a tempo run on the hills. That helps me. So
Okay.
if there is no availability of uphill terrain,
Mhm.
guys from other cities can train themselves on the treadmill.
On the
That's the
treadmill.
only option I feel they have.
Mhm.
Otherwise, about my training,
Mhm.
I do not enjoy heels at all. I keep telling myself, why do I don't get a flat route when I have to race the fast under 5K run?
Uh-huh.
It becomes very challenging.
Uh-huh.
So I do those tempo runs when I actually prepare for Hyderabad. Otherwise, I prefer running on flat roads.
Flat road. So your suggestion would be to do more of tempo-ish runs
Exactly.
on undulating sections,
Yes.
or on something like a flyover, but then flyovers are not safe in India anymore. So yeah, do it
Yes.
on a treadmill basically, on an
Yeah.
elevation.
And target the race pace or
Huh.
close to your race pace. Do those tempos on the hills.
On the hills. Farheen, how about you? I mean, Bangalore does offer a fair deal of elevation. So do you go to Pipeline Road and specifically train for Hyderabad, or how do you tackle the hills basically in your training?
So like Avik mentioned, he hates this shorter hill repeats, but yeah, we have a lot of shorter hill repeats in my training. So maybe twice a month I do hill repeats, a shorter version, but also the long distance usually includes a slow run where I have there's a place in Bangalore where there are a lot of hills, rolling roads. It's called Avalhalli. So we go there and train for and that includes a lot of elevation there. So whatever elevation that did Avik mentioned, we get it there, and our long runs are usually there. So yeah, that's where we get our endurance and build our strength to run the Hyderabad roads.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
If I may just
Moving on.
intervene here, Kartik.
Yeah,
So
Prashant,
Hyderabad,
please.
by and large, has been a city of rocks.
Right,
Or there were a lot of hills in the city earlier.
right.
Now, of course, with the city being expanded, many of the hills or rocks have been cut down. But then that's why that elevation remains along the route.
Right,
In
right,
fact,
right.
at one point of time, when the Nizam was ruling the state, you had this Naubat Pahad where you had the nobility of Hyderabad staying.
Okay,
And Nizam himself used to stay in a summer palace, which was
okay.
like 100 meters above or 200 meters above the normal level.
Oh, wow,
So
wow.
that's a kind of topography Hyderabad has. So,
Right.
you can't escape the elevation, you can't escape the hills, you can't escape the flyovers here.
I think that's a very important message to all of you who've tuned in and who are running the race. What the race director said, accept it. It's going to be a lot more easier for you when you actually race it. Yeah, Prashant, let's move on.
Sure.
Before
So,
Prashant starts, Prashant, I will just take 1 minute of
sure,
your
Vic,
time.
go on.
Sure.
Prashant mentioned a very nice section that after you get down from the Somajiguda flyover, the stretch
Right,
from there till KVR Park. So
right.
normally during this time we have a lot of energy and
Uh-huh.
we end up running that place a bit faster. That's the first
Ah,
mistake that most of the runners do in Hyderabad Marathon, whether they're running a
ah.
half marathon or full marathon. My suggestion will be please be careful after you get down from the second flyover, that is the Somajiguda flyover. Until the time you
Right.
reach KVR Park, be a bit conservative. That will
So this
help
would
you.
be roughly in terms of kilometers. What would this be? Which kilometer to which kilometer, so that our audience is able to relate to it more easily. Actually,
It's about 15 kilometers for the full, and
right.
about 6-7 kilometers for the half marathon.
Okay, that's a
KVR
great
Park.
input. That's a great input. So, guys, this is one of the common pitfalls. A lot of us do fresh legs, energy, and we push on the hills, and then we pay the price later. Yeah. So just be careful about
So yeah,
that.
so after
Yeah.
you
Let's move
cross
on.
KVR Park, so we kind
Mhm.
of deceive you into believing that the road is going down and you have a nice downhill. It's like a reward for having climbed all that distance up.
Right.
And we also spice it up a little bit with the greenery of the KVR park, wide roads.
Right.
So we make you forget all the flyovers. We make you forget that you're going to do a lot of hard work.
Right.
Then you reach the Jubilee Hills check post, from where you take a left.
Right.
A little bit elevation before you get onto road number 45, which is again a nice flat straight road for some distance. So let's clear that section, and then we come to a lot of exciting sections ahead.
So guys, this is the Arvind is actually flashing that section. You can see Jubilee Hills check post and all that. He's flashing that section that Prashant is talking about.
Arvind, would it be could you just kind of take the cursor from the KVR park up to the Durgam Cheru thing, so that people know that's a section we've spoken of?
Yeah. So that'll be from kilometer 11 to about kilometer 14, actually, right? Or kilometer 13, probably.
Yeah, the green area that you see, the green block that you see in the center, that's the KVR park.
Right.
And you kind of go around the periphery. Perfect. Till you go and make a left there. That's a section we just spoke about.
And this section you're saying is relatively easy downhill, but more importantly, deceptive. Actually.
Exactly.
Right. That was the key word. So runners, be aware of it. A lot of us do this mistake, and I'm going to go to both of these guys basically to talk about it. But a lot of us do this mistake that, we lost time, on the uphills. Now let's try and make up during this section. What do you guys have to say about this, Farheen and Avik? I mean, pacing is always, and pacing is always a challenging thing. But then pacing yourself on such a course with so many deceptions in every nook and cranny can be even more difficult. So how do you guys pace yourself? We'll probably start with Farheen and then we'll go to Avik. Yeah.
As I mentioned, my start is always in a controlled pace, and then when I see any hills is where I slow down a little bit, and seeing a downhill doesn't mean that I just give over and all. I try to keep my goal pace and only keep going, but maybe after first half of the race is when I start conserving energy really more when I'm in the uphills, and just give over and out when I'm in the downhill. That is how I pace my run, because I don't want to deplete my energy at the start of the race or before the first half of the race. So what I do is I conserve energy and use it for the second half, and maybe like we spoke, I run in the negative splits.
Okay. Yeah. Avik, how about you? How do you pace yourself on such a course?
Yes, so I do not. I also do the same. I conserve my energy when I run the uphill. And then I try to make sure my form is right when I'm running on the uphill. And downhill, I just allow the body to roll, go with the flow, and that helps me. So my suggestion will be do not waste your energy in doing a very hard run on the uphill. Go slow, go a bit conservative, and when it is a downhill, let the body go along with the flow. That will be helpful.
That will be helpful. That's a great suggestion. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Arvind, can you just flash the map again? And probably as you do it, because that brings us to a very interesting juncture on the route. So we just want to see the map once again. Yeah, Arvind is just sharing it.
So, Kartik, what we've also planned on the route are a few entertainment stations.
Yes, you should probably talk about that actually. Yeah.
So we'll have a few college bands or music bands and coming on to play on the roads.
Wonderful.
And maybe some children from schools coming there to cheer the runners.
Right.
This is all an effort to make you forget the elevation. No, maybe I'm making a lot of bones about the elevation, but this is just generally to keep the spirits high. Make sure that you are you have a lot of things to think about, see, and a lot of positive energy flowing around when you run the marathon.
Right. That's always been a highlight of Hyderabad, actually. And I will mention my own experiences about the children later. But yeah, I think we can move on with the route right
now.
So
we have a fantastic entertainment team with the Hemant and Nilima who get all these organized for the runners. They go aboard to get this done.
Right.
So yeah, while we are back on the route, you see that Durgam Cheru section there.
Yes.
So that's where that is a tough section number 2, if I can call it that.
Okay.
Where from road number 45. So we had stopped at road number 45 in the last discussion.
Right.
So from road number 45, you get onto a flyover, which leads you to the suspension bridge over Durgam Cheru Lake, It's a beautiful section, though there is a bit of elevation there, but it's a beautiful section. You're running on the suspension bridge with water on both sides. And believe me, it's a very calming experience. We've actually seen runners stop there to take selfies on the bridge, to take photos with the, with the whole ambience there. Forgetting that, actually, at a time, I'm sure, though, let's enjoy the place. So that's how a lot of people react to this section. But yes, there's quite a bit of elevation there. Probably, this is comparable to what you have at KBR Park.
At KBR Park.
And we have a lovely cheering section there also for you as so this 3 odd kilometer section from road number 45 to ending of Durgam Cheru Bridge. That's the one you'll need to be a little careful in terms of what speed you get on to, but enjoy it. Forget the elevation, enjoy the scenery around you, enjoy the suspension bridge. I mean, it's a feeling I get when I run the Bandra Valley.
Right. I was about to say that it kind of gives you that, it's a sense, seems to be that sense of a deja vu, basically.
But unfortunately, Bombay, when you're running that section, you're running in the dark.
Right.
So your half marathon will probably be at around 7 o'clock or so.
Right.
So enough time for you to catch the sunset if you have the patience to do so. Sunrise if you have the patience to do so.
Patience to do so, yeah. Farheen, you remember this section of the race since you ran it in December?
Yeah, I remember.
And did you? I'm sure you didn't stand to take a selfie. That much I'm sure about you, basically. But
No.
Your memories?
I think it was a really tough flyover, and I remember the pacer who was with me, the cyclist, his name is Aditya. I remember really well because I thanked him a lot later. He's like, ma'am, just 100 more meters, just 100 more. He could see that on my face. Okay, she's going to slow down now. So yeah, I think that was the toughest part for me. But yes, the view was beautiful. I still made some time to few seconds to just look around here and there. Yeah, it was beautiful, and I've got the best clicks here from the photographers.
Wow. Yeah, lovely. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, once we've crossed the Durgam Cheruvu, and then
you cross the scenic part, and at this point you are kind of a little ahead of the halfway mark for the half marathon, and probably even the full marathon. You're kind of at the halfway mark. Where you get on after this, a couple of kilometers, you have a flat section where you pass through ITC Kohinoor, and you take a left and you make a U-turn. That's basically to get the distance adjusted between the point to point.
Right.
And from there on till the IKEA circle is maybe a mild elevation or flat.
Okay.
So nothing much to talk about this section, I think. What do you say, Avik?
Yeah, this section is really. You can enjoy after doing all the hard work on the flyover. You can enjoy the section. You can go at a steady pace. But as Farheen mentioned, she got the best clicks on the flyover. So guys, don't forget to pose when you are running on that flyover. And you will get amazing cheerleaders, kids, volunteers cheering you on the flyover. So it will be fun. But after that, it's all flat, as Prashant mentioned. Around the ITC Kohinoor and the IKEA junction.
And guys, this is a 116 half marathoner and a 240 marathon.
I can almost picturize
you better take it seriously,
coming up the flyover, huffing and puffing, but having a very wide smile for the photographs.
Interesting. Okay, so it's been a typical Hyderabad course, tough at most places, and then a gentle reprieve, which again can be deceptive. And I think now we come to a point from where the full and the half guys
not yet. There's still time for that.
Not yet. Okay.
So
let's move on.
Once you pass ITC Kohinoor, you come up to the IKEA junction. You take a left where you have a downhill. So some place where you can recuperate, get back your energy. And the half and the full marathon runners are introduced to the 10K runners. So that's where the 10K route blends in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, while you're going down the slope, you can look at the beautiful IKEA store on your left.
Right.
On your right, your right. And you get down up to Biodiversity Park. From where you take a right and get onto the Mumbai highway. So this part of the route is a little easy, and you would be around the 13 kilometers there if you're doing the half marathon, or about 21 kilometers if you're doing the full. And that's the place where you need to get back your energy.
Okay.
get set for the next part.
So, Avik, would you suggest pushing in the context of the entire course? Would this be a section where you would really encourage runners to push actually?
So, if guys you have run this last edition of Hyderabad marathon, or even the previous editions, if you see your splits, if you just go through your splits, you will see that you have done your best split probably in this section. So the moment you see the IKEA, charge yourself up, and then the next 1.5 kilometers will be all yours. Speed up, and then have the encounter the flyover again.
So, Farheen, did you actually do that? Did you put what
Exactly.
Avik just said to practice in the last edition? Okay, happy to hear that. Nice. Okay, so yeah, so you've sped down and then you've come to the Mumbai highway now, and as you said, all three kind of streams merge. The full and the half anyway, they've been running more or less in lockstep. Now the 10K guys have also kind of joined in in this stretch. And then what happens?
So once you get onto the old Mumbai highway, it's a fairly straight stretch for about 4 odd kilometers.
Okay.
The highlight being the Gachibowli flyover, the fourth flyover which you're going to stay. Now, for people who are running it the first time, that comes as a bit of a shock.
Right.
But I'm sure Farheen would have felt that when she ran Hyderabad last year. But this time, Farheen, you'll surprise yourself. When you come to the flyover, it'll look a lot easier than it did earlier. Because you already run it, you're kind of prepared for it, you're trained for it. So when you're actually going up, you won't feel so much. But first timers will definitely feel that. And, that's the climax which you have for the half marathon route before it leads you to the straight path to finish. So that's a part of it. A little careful because you're a little tired when you reach the flyover. Full marathon, people would reach it at around 23, 24 kilometers. For the half marathon, guys, it'll be around 15 or 16 kilometers mark. So you're kind of on tired legs. You'll need to be a little careful as to how you negotiate that. And that's where your training kind of comes into play. If you're well on hills, you've done hill repeats and all, then this section will be a little easier than for the others.
In fact, Prashant, I have a question associated with that flyover. Whose idea was it to put that flyover on the route at that particular point in the race? Basically?
Oh, this flyover is actually way behind. We dragged it here.
I like that.
So, when the race was conceptualized in 2011, we wanted to make the race go through all the important parts of the city.
Right.
So it passed through some important parts like the Raj Bhavan Road, where you have the governor's residence and the chief minister's residence, and the KVR Park and the Madhapur High-Tech City. Right. And we wanted a nice big area as a finish point, and that was the Gachibowli Stadium.
Right.
So when you're doing that and you want the straight roads and you want big roads, then the flyovers you have to take the topography.
Inevitable.
You don't have a choice.
Indeed.
So that's how the flyover came, and we took it. And one advantage of the flyovers, to be very practical, it's easier for the police or the law and order to control the flyovers than it is to control the main roads and the lanes there.
The lanes.
So, once you get up the flyover, you're going to get down, beach mein traffic nahi aane wala hai, nobody's going to come in between. And it's easier for the police also to manage.
It, right.
That's also the reason why, our route changed once we had the Durgam Cheru Bridge from 2019 to 2021. Earlier, we were going through the Madhapur area. But then that route wasn't as good as in terms of scenic beauty as the Durgam Cheru flyover. And from a law and order perspective also, or from a traffic perspective also, it was easier for us to take the Durgam Cheru Bridge. It was easier to manage the traffic and get exclusive right on the road for runners.
Wonderful. Yeah. And Farheen, what are your memories of this monster staring down at you at the 17th kilometer from the last edition?
I think the only thing kept me pushing is the children cheering for us, and that gave the extra kind of energy to buckle up and push harder. And my pacer saying, this is the last flyover, you finish this and you're gonna be the winner. And the thought of me standing on the podium just kept me pushing, and until 20th was something which was really difficult. But on the last kilometer I just went over and out, and then seeing the flyover, which was seeing the finish line, which was so emotional for me. I finished it in style, and then when I was put the second winner tag on my neck was the best memory I can say.
It feels good to earn it after having gone through so much of hardship, elevation, or whatever you call it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. And then, so the detour, but the full marathon guys have already detoured, is what you're saying, right?
So the half marathon.
Arvind, can we just go back to the route one last time, basically, because we just have the last section to cover? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So half marathon, you cover the Gachibowli flyover and come up to the Triple IT junction, from where the full marathon runners separate out, taking a left. Half marathon runners go straight into the stadium. But all those who are running it for the first time, you still have to run 1 more kilometer inside the stadium. So, you don't just mentally switch off. Remember that you have to run a kilometer, but that's a place where you have a mild down, it's a negative elevation. So you're going downhill for some time, so that 1 kilometer, it's a little easy on your legs, and you finish inside the athletic track at the stadium. So make sure you give it your best. You're going to get a feel like you're an Olympic runner running on the athletic track of those 8 lanes with a nice finish arch and cheering people waiting for you to give you the medal and welcome you home. So keep your best for that last 1 kilometer as far as the half marathon runners are concerned. For the full marathon, boss, Delhi abhi dur hai. You'll take a left at Triple ID, and you come to one more section which is going to test you a bit, which is what we popularly call as the Microsoft Hill.
Okay.
And we'll mislead you by having Infosys on one side, ISB on one side, and Microsoft on one side, Wipro, Infosys. So, you'll kind of be lost in the whole IT jungle, and that's where you'll get the uphill for about a kilometer or so, till after which there's a down up to Wipro circle. And maybe you should hear it from Avik, how he would like to tackle
in fact, I was coming to Avik. Considering Avik, you do a lot of your runs in that area, though you've never run the full marathon in Hyderabad officially. But what would be your advice to runners who are running the full marathon? And like Prashant said, again, it's a very deceptive and in fact a tough section, because one more thing I want to add over here: the weather also can be very iffy by this point in time for the full marathoners. Am I correct?
Yes.
Sometimes
exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Avik. Yeah. Go on.
Over to you, Avik.
Yeah, the weather. If the weather could be humid, that's because it's August. The monsoon at times it is peak in Hyderabad during August, so it could be humid. Also for the full marathoners, the sun will be out, and by the time the body will start getting tired. So then your training comes into play. The way you have trained yourself and the way you have paced yourself to cover the remaining distance.
Right.
So go steady. ISB road, you will get up hills as well as downhills. So you just have to control your pace on the uphill. It's the same strategy, and just keep pushing yourself. If you have a group of people running with you, try to tag to those guys so that the pace does not fall off. It's in full marathon that really helps. When you find someone slightly faster than you or someone at your pace, try to tag to that group. That really helps. And that is how you have to tackle that ISB road till the time you reach Wipro circle. Okay,
fine. Yeah. Sorry, Prashant, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just wanting to comment on the weather, because August is the time when sometimes you have a mild rain as well. And sometimes if it's not raining, it can be a bit sultry. So like you said, from that point onwards, from Triple IT junction onwards, where most of the full marathon runners would be reaching at around 8-ish, I guess, 8:30. So that's a time you need to be careful. Avik rightly mentioned, so completely in agreement with Avik.
Okay. Yeah. And then moving on. So now you've tackled the IT section of it.
So you tackled the IT section, gone down to Wipro circle, from where you make a right. And then again, you have a kind of a flattish road with a mild elevation for the next 4 or 5 kilometers.
Right.
Or maybe 6 kilometers. The only issue in that place is you don't have too much of tree cover. So you're open to the elements. But by and large, that road is flat. Earlier, when the city was still expanding, that that section of the road used to be a little bit of challenge with the single side road and vehicles coming in both directions. And, even with us stopping traffic, there used to be a very narrow lane for the runners, but no longer. For the last 3 or 4 years, we have a pretty broad area to run there. So it's easy. People can actually, if you want to speed up, like I said, someone doing negative splits, that's the area where start to up their pace if they do have the energy. But that's a flattish section till you reach the University of Hyderabad.
Right.
So you want to have some comments on that before we get on to the university part?
Yeah, we are almost towards the last segment of the show, but we can take some quick comments in. Avik, you want to add anything over here, considering that you're the expert in this area?
So yes, as Prashant mentioned, there will be not much tree covers, and you will be exposed to the sun and the pollution and all that. Right. So just run with your heart and just don't give up at this phase. Just your training will play a key role. Just keep running with your heart and keep telling yourself another 7 kilometers to go, another 8 kilometers to go. You will do it. That will definitely keep you going.
Right.
And from our side, what we'll be doing is we'll have a few physiotherapists also on the road. On the route along with the 8 sections. So we've got 8 stations at every 2 kilometers, followed by a medical station. And at this place after the Wipro Circle and until you get into the university, the 8 stations and the medical stations will be closer by.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's easier to get hydration or get medical attention if required.
That's great. One more thing I just wanted to ask you: is the entire route shut off for traffic, or is it like one section of the route is shut off for traffic? How does that logistics
work?
One
section of the route where we are running is entirely shut off for traffic. So most of the places where we are running are 2-side roads. So one side of the roads is entirely for the runners, and no traffic is allowed there till the last runner crosses.
Till the last runner,
or till the traffic restriction time comes into play. We have that cutoff time of 3.5 hours for the half marathon or 6.5 hours for the full. So after that, they'll start the traffic if there are not too many runners also. But till the committed time, it's entirely us.
It's entirely yours, yeah. Farheen, does this tempt you to change your registration from a half to a full, basically?
No, not after listening to the route for full marathon, I think.
Okay. Yeah, and that brings us to the last section of this of this particular route. Prashant, any closing comments on the route, basically?
So after this section, you get into the University of Hyderabad, which is very scenic, and you get a lot of tree cover. We try to kind of make do for the tree cover that you didn't have in the earlier section. Good amount of tree cover, volunteer support, and University of Hyderabad students coming and cheering out for you. So that's about 3 or 4 kilometers inside the university from where you get on to the old Mumbai highway, take a right, and then get into the stadium. And again, that is a little bit deceptive. As soon as you sight the stadium, don't think the race has ended. You still have about 750 odd meters to get inside.
So I'm going to interrupt you here. So for the half marathoners, it's about 1 kilometer that they'll be doing inside the stadium complex. So when you say inside the stadium, it's like the track plus the stadium complex, basically.
Exactly.
So that's 1 kilometer for the half marathon guys, but for the full marathon guys, it's about a 750 meters distance actually. Does everybody enter through the same entrance, or are there?
No, the half marathon and the 10K runners enter through gate 1. That is one extreme end of the stadium. And the full marathon runners enter through gate 4. That is another extreme end of the stadium.
Okay. Yeah. And Avik, I mean, usually in my own experience, right? This is you've done all the work until now, but I've seen a lot of people collapse as they not a lot, but quite a few cases where, people literally struggle when they come into the stadium actually. So how do you really, when you're pushing, especially when people push, how do you handle this last section basically, right? I mean, you've given your everything and then people falter at the last step. And this is something I've seen in Hyderabad happen quite a bit with runners. So how do you advise people to deal with something like that?
So you have to first and foremost, you need to take care of your hydration during the run. That's really important because whether you are doing a half marathon or full marathon, hydration plays a key role. So please do take care of your hydration. If you have hydrated well in Hyderabad, my organizers, they ensure that You have enough volunteers all throughout. So you need any help, please reach out to the volunteers. They're always there to help you out. But taking care of all that, even after taking care of all that, the last section of full marathon is always a mind game. So keep your mind very strong. Don't give up. You just keep telling yourself, keep talking to yourself. That helps. It's like the mind gives up and then slowly the body starts giving up. So
Right.
keep your mind strong, train your mind as well, keep talking to yourself, stick to a group, have nice conversations within the group. That really helps.
Wonderful. Yeah, and that brings us. In fact, there is an audience question that we'll take before we'll actually end the show. What about the last 10 kilometers for the FM? Is it hilly or, is it hilly?
So
Or the flyover will.
the last 10 kilometers are fairly flat, not too
Okay.
much of elevation there. Last 8-9 kilometers are fairly flat, not too much of elevation there, and absolutely no flyover there. The last flyover you pass is the Gachibowli flyover, and the last hill that you steep incline that you have is the Microsoft hill.
Okay.
After which you don't have any more surprises. We make it easy for the full marathon runners. And you will probably enjoy running in the university with the tree cover and all, because the runners would be there in the university at around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
If you have something like a 5-hour finish. So 9:30 is the time you will be in the university with that tree cover. You'll actually love running there.
Wonderful, wonderful. There's another lovely question, a very interesting question. Will hydration be in cups or mini water bottles?
We have cups. We use paper cups for water as well as hydration drinks. So for the last 6-7 years, we tried our best to exclude plastic as much as possible from the aid stations. Even from the breakfast packaging, also we're going in for hot breakfast with the with the plates which are biodegradable.
Very interesting. Okay.
We try to avoid plastic as much as possible on the route.
Okay.
But we do encourage people to come with their own water bottles, which can be filled up at the aid stations. So that you want to, if you find it easier to run with the bottle and not with the cup, you can get your bottle filled and run with that.
Okay, wonderful. We're almost at the fag end of the show, but Farheen, how do you manage this? This at your pace, and you're pushing. How do you manage? These cups. Do you carry a bottle with yourself? How do you manage this hydration part?
No, I
that
don't
Avik
carry
has been
bottle.
Right.
I don't carry bottle. I signal the people in the hydration this way, and he has a cup ready. I take it, I drink, I put in the dustbin, and I keep going. So I do not carry a bottle, but I have the signal and they see it. Sometimes I miss it, but yeah, that's how I manage my hydration.
Wonderful, nice. So yeah, guys, so this was the the meat of the discussion. There's some question on total elevation and all. We will be taking the technicals in a separate. We will be doing a route preview about 2 weeks before the race, as we publish on our GeeksOnFeet this thing. So there we'll give you all the technical details. Here, I think let's just restrict it to this. So okay, once you're back into the stadium, like Prashant said, most of the information in terms of travel logistics, I'm not going to touch upon that because that's already there in your race kit, right, Prashant? On how to reach back and all that stuff. The baggage also is available. Maybe you just want to quickly touch upon the baggage.
We have baggage collection counters at all the start points. So for the full marathon, 10 marathon races at the People's Plaza, where you start off. If you're running the 10K race, you have a baggage collection point at Hightex, and your baggage will be got to the stadium. We have a designated place where it'll be redistributed back to you. And we'll have signages showing you where it is, where you need to go to take it. And plus announcements as well, but maybe in that humdum, you may not be able to hear all the announcements. So keep looking out for the signage. You'll get your baggage in time. Not to worry.
Wonderful.
And Kartik, just a little bit of trivia I would like to tell you. Bangalore has the highest number of runners who are coming.
Oh,
there
wow.
About 400 plus registrations from Bangalore.
Wow.
About 325 from Pune.
Fantastic. And this 400 is spread across the full marathon and the half marathon category.
Full, half, and 10. Full, half, and 10, all three put together.
Okay, and this is 400 and counting. Your registration closes
400
tomorrow.
And counting. And in fact, we've got some good registrations from smaller places like Latur and Nasik and Bidar and Gurgaon. 50, 40.
So I think you should kind of do a profiling, like what ProCam does after every race. You guys profile on who all participated in the Hyderabad Marathon this time around from a geographical spread across India. Actually, that'll really make for interesting reading.
Maybe we should do that. But I'm happy, people are actually seeking the race and coming for it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that people are enjoying the route as well.
Right. And in fact, at this point, before I go back to Avik, we would like to give credit to Prashant. And when I say Prashant, it's not just Prashant people. There's a whole team. He mentioned about the, the entertainment. He mentioned about 2 members in his team. But then there's a whole team that works with Prashant to get this event off the ground. Trust me, our point-to-point course cannot be an easy thing, basically, right? Bringing a city to a standstill, at least one part of a city to a standstill, is no mean task, basically. And there's an entire team behind Prashant. So kudos to you, Prashant, and to the Hyderabad runners, who are actually the people who, the behind the scenes guys and girls who get this event off the ground.
Absolutely. So in a way, the race director is only the face of the event, and he's only as good or as the team. And for the last 10 years, 11 years that we've been organizing the race, we've had an excellent team. People come with a lot of passion, and we are an NGO, we are a not-for-profit society. People come, give their time to volunteer, and the kind of passion and energy they get, the enthusiasm they get to the organizing table, it's very infectious.
Fantastic.
So a lot of positive energy around, and very happy to have the kind of team I've had in 2021 and now 2022. Makes your work easier. You can just sit back and relax.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And kudos to the team, basically. So Avik, I'm coming back to you. Your best memories of the Hyderabad Marathon.
Everything. I cannot single out one thing. It's my own race, and everything is memorable. The medal that we get after the run is probably the best medal that I've ever received in the country, and I look forward for that medal. And guys, I can challenge any one of you coming from other cities. You won't get this kind of medal anywhere else in India. At least that's my experience.
I mean, what more is left to say, actually? Farheen, you've just run one edition of this event, but your pleasant memories from that one edition.
The best part is I had a beautiful bib which said elite. That was my first ever elite category run. And then I get to I see people, a lot of people standing in the queue to collect the bibs, but I just see elite is with just very few people, and I just go collect my bib, and I have a video where I'm collecting the bib and holding this. Okay, this is my elite bib. That was the most memorable part. And then again, running with the elites and everything on the route, everything was just the best, and then crossing the finish line, and then with a half breath maybe I was left out with, and and of course the second tag was the best memories of Hyderabad run.
Wonderful. Prashant, the final word to you, the message from the race director to all those people who are registering and coming to Hyderabad.
So come enjoy the race. Don't let all this elevation and all the technical part play a spoil sport. Just forget about that. Come enjoy the race, enjoy the city, enjoy the sights. Our team has been working with a lot of optimism to make sure that the race goes well for you, and we're hoping you have a real good time. Just a small advice: keep the beer and the biryani on the race day, after the race, not before the race. Yeah, otherwise I think you're good to run Hyderabad. Make sure.
Are you running any special discounts on the beer and the biryani, by the way? Will you be serving beer and biryani at the finish line?
Unfortunately not. We are committed to health food. But I'm sure runners don't have the appetite for beer and biryani just after the race. They need those 4-5 hours to cool off and then get on to these things. So
the party scene, basically, right? Wonderful. Farheen, Firdouse, Avik Pal and Prashant Morparia, it was a pleasure having you guys on this show. Guys, mark your calendars. 28th August 2022 is the Hyderabad Marathon. In fact, 27, 28 are the race weekends, basically. Race weekend, rather. They have the 5K event on the 27th and all the other 3 events. The big dance happens on the 28th. So come, enjoy, and relish these memories. And like all our people have said, when you're struggling on that course, give a high five to the wonderful children who will be lined up on those flyovers in the most difficult parts of the race, and give your widest smile to the army of photographers around the course. All of you have a wonderful weekend ahead, a long weekend ahead. Train safe, train well, and we'll see you in Hyderabad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kartik. You've been a wonderful host and had a great time being here. All the best to Avik and Farheen for the race.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prashant.
Yep.
And Kartik, you were just wonderful. I have spent so much time with you. Never knew that this is your passion and hobby.
It was a pleasure having you. You were a revelation yourself. Arvind, are we done? Are we out of the live?